You guys are probably somewhat frustrated waiting for products. But I want to kind of give you guys all an idea of what we're doing and let you know that we do have a plan. And that's one of the nice things I think there is about working for Ashley. They're a family-owned company. It's a father-son company. So there's not a board of directors to appease. There's not stockholders to pay every quarter. They can make changes. They can put a bunch of money back in the business, and they don't need, they can make those decisions. And it's kind of nice because Ashley is committed to putting in, what is it, $1.5 billion in the next 18 months, I think is what they're putting back into the company. And it's almost gotten to be comical because it seems like every week there's another issue and it's something completely different than the week before. Initially everybody was at home, hunkered down with COVID and retail came to a stop and everybody worried about all the stuff they had on order. Then business exploded and nobody could keep up with orders. And then there were workforce issues and then there's trucking. Containers. And I mean, every week is something different. And the one nice thing about Ashley is some of these investments they're making, one of the biggest problems in flowing furniture now is some of the components that are involved. And Ashley over the years has become very good about being self-sufficient. For years, we used to have Liggett and Platt make all of our mechanisms. And about 4 or 5 years ago, we started making our own mechanisms. We basically make the same mechanisms, but we started making them for ourselves. That allowed us, not to be slaves to other people's price increases. Oh, we can't get steel, things like that. One of the biggest issues we had this spring, as far as production goes, is I don't know if you remember in when was it, February down in Texas when they had that big ice storm and all the foam plants closed down. I'm sure you heard from other upholstery vendors that are going to have problems getting foam. Ashley is actually building 3 of their own foam plants. One is just about done. In fact, I think it's going to start up here in about a month or so. So we're going to pour our own foam and we're going to have the supplies there. So we'll have 3 months worth of chemicals to pour foam. So if there's a disruption, we're not going to have to be slaves to whomever's producing the foam. Right now, believe it or not, like foam is allocated and Ashley is the largest user of foam in the United States, but we're allocated so much each month. And after this storm came through, they came back and said, well, we can give you half of what we normally give you. And we're like, no, that's not going to work. So they ended up giving us about 70% of what we normally get. But again, it slowed our production down though, because we were reliant on somebody else. So this money that Ashley's reinvesting, yes, they're building new manufacturing plants. We're building new DCs. We're expanding our overseas capability. Ashley just signed a container contract for next year for 500,000 containers. It's a big deal. Ashley is going to be the 4th largest importer of containers in the United States next year, behind Walmart, Costco, Lowe's, and then we just passed Home Depot for the 4th spot, so Home Depot's 5th. And that's a big deal because the furniture industry is a small industry. It's not a huge industry, like a Walmart type of thing would be. So the fact that we're going to be the 4th largest importer of containers next year is actually a really big deal. So there was a stretch where we struggled getting containers. So we've got this new container contract and we've got a ton of space. Well, now all of a sudden COVID hit Vietnam, and I'm sure you're hearing stories about that. It's really interesting over there. They have, COVID really hasn't been in Vietnam. So it's kind of like March 2020 in Vietnam right now. And, there's a lot of people obviously scared. I think there's, again, about 89 million people in that country when it really started hitting them in the middle of July. And they only had like 300,000 with 1 shot of vaccine. So it was like less than 0.5% of their population had any vaccine whatsoever. So obviously there's a mad rush to getting that done. And Ashley has actually been working with Pfizer to get vaccines over to our workers. The vast majority of our workers have been vaccinated with at least 1 shot, is what we were told. And it's interesting over there because the way it works is we're running our factories is 2 weeks out, 2 weeks off. So if somebody comes to work, they actually stay and live at the factory. We had to build, sleeping areas, showers, restaurants. I mean, the whole shebang. And they come on for 2 weeks and then they go. Or if they stay a 3rd week or a 4th week, they get paid more the longer they stay. And it's interesting because we had, I think 2 weeks ago, we had 1,000 more than we had the prior week. And we're up to 2,500 more people working this week than there was 2 weeks ago. So we're definitely seeing the production going up. At our lowest, we were running about 20% capacity out of Vietnam. And to give you an idea, all the motion furniture that you're sitting on basically is made in Vietnam. And so we were running 80 to 90% capacity, and then we've got about a 4 or 6 week stretch where we're down in 2025. The good news is we're back up to almost 50 right now. So we are going the right direction. And like I said, there's more and more people at work every week, so it's heading in the right direction. But unfortunately, we're going to see that 6-8 week stretch hitting us here fairly soon. We had a lot of product on the water, but I would tell you about October 1st or so in the motion end of things are going to slow down. There was a number of products that were suspended over the last couple of weeks. And if you look at them on Ashley Direct, they'll have a U under their status, meaning unavailable. And basically what we're doing on the motion side of things, a lot of it was new product that we had just introduced at market that we hadn't started shipping yet. Or it'll be from a vendor that maybe is having issues as far as getting people to work, because they're sick or they're not able to run their factory or whatever. So if you see a U in the status, where they have the current or disco or whatever, if there's a U, it means it's unavailable. And if you try to order it, it'll come up highlighted on Ashley Direct. And you can order the stuff, but they're saying that it could be up till May 1st before we start producing it again. So, I mean, if you order it now, it could be middle of next year before you get it, which from us is unheard of. But what they're doing is they're trying to kind of focus on, the product that we can build and best sellers. We're trying to build as much of that as possible with the capacity that we have now. So that's why some things are being suspended or unsupported, they're calling it, until next spring, to focus on best sellers. So pretty much everything in the line on the motion upholstery side is still current. Most of the things that became unsupported for me in motion was leather. And in the rental, we don't do a lot of leather, but we saw that. And then there's other things that aren't affected either, like the transformer groups. You guys have all had like the Party Time, and you've had the 245 group. That stuff all actually comes out of Cambodia. So any of the transformer groups aren't affected. None of the lift chairs are affected. Any of like the contemporary metro modern looking stuff, that doesn't come from Vietnam either, so that's not affected. So it's kind of hit or miss. And so you're gonna see some of the staple products slow down. The positive is, ever since COVID, probably May 2020, Marty and I have been getting together quarterly, and we've been ordering products for your stores. And I mean, I'm sure you see it. But every quarter there's 2 or 3 motion frames put in, and it's worked out pretty well. They get ordered, and then a few months later you guys are getting them. But at least you're getting something new, every month or every a couple frames a quarter, something like that. So what Ashley did motion wise though, with the slowdown in Vietnam, what we ended up doing is we used to get a lot of product from China. And we ended up really not doing a lot out of China because there's tariffs out of there, which you all heard politically over the last few years. But the thing about China is there's a ton of capacity over there. So in motion, we're basically introducing an entire line. There's 21 frames, and there's everything from manual fabric and manual leather sofas to power adjustable headrests, really good leathers. I mean, there's all different price points. There's sectionals, there's recliners. It's basically kind of a mini line. And that product is going to be in stock like we were pre-COVID because there's just a ton of it coming. I think they ordered anywhere from 7,000 to 10,000 of each of these groups. And the nice thing about it is they're going to start shipping in the middle of October. And we have programmed out for your stores like 2 frames in October, 2 frames in November, and 2 frames in December. So at market, we didn't have the frames there. We had pictures of what we're going to do. So you guys kind of have to bear with us. We're in October market here in about 4 weeks. We'll have the actual frames there. Marty will get to see what he bought out of pictures. So, but I wrote on here what you have coming and then the month that it's coming. So there's 2 frames in October. There's 2 in November, and then there's 2 in December. And there's a sectional, and then there's 5 sofa groups. And there's a mix of fabric. There's a drop-down tray group. But it's all really nicely tailored stuff. And this manufacturer that we're using for a source over there has built frames for us in the past. It is Ashley product. It passes all the same quality testing, all the fabric testing that we do with everything else. So it is Ashley product. This vendor is actually making frames for us now. So it's not like it's somebody completely new. So it'll be no different than the product that you're buying from us now. The only difference is instead of coming from Vietnam, like all my motion does now, it's going to come from China. So the price point's a little bit higher because we have the 25% tariff built into our prices. But we're also going to have furniture to sell. So it's kind of like, you know, you have a steakhouse, but you don't have steak, you're out of business, right? So the nice part about this is at least we are going to have some product for the fourth quarter. So I laid out the 6 frames that you guys have coming for your stores, and you guys can sure take a look at them at your leisure. They're not the greatest pictures. After High Point Market is the 3rd week of October. So I tell you by the 4th week of October, there'll be better pictures of the actual frames on Ashley Direct. But if you go on Ashley Direct now, all the sizes and dimensions in these pictures are out there. And then I'll just leave these. This is a picture of the rest of the frames that will be available too. And like I said, there's some that don't fit price point wise, and there's some that, you know, these were better than. But I mean, at least, like I said, we're going to have a nice program of frames that are going to be in stock and available. And the way we're forecasting flowing these, if you would get one of those frames in and sell it and reorder it, there's going to be stock there waiting to go. So it's not like you're going to have to wait 3 months to get it back. So all of the stuff that's sitting there, like I said, is going to be in stock through 4th quarter and 1st quarter for sure. We're kind of doing it as an in and out program. So I'm going to call it, I guess, a quick ship program. And I don't know if we'll do it for 4 months, for 6 months, for 8, however long we need it. And you know, once Vietnam is COVID subsided and we're back up at 100%, you'll probably see some of this stuff go away. But for now, you know, at least we're going to have some product. So that's kind of one of the that's probably the biggest news on the motion side as far as what we're doing to combat shipping woes. I mean, as you can all imagine, Ashley actually has been shipping fairly well compared to most. And because of that, a lot of people are doing business with Ashley that they haven't in the past, you know. So we see every week we're shipping record amounts out of our DCs. We hit record shipping week. But the other side of it is every week we're doing record written business week, record written business week. So, you know, we might hit a record of shipping 140 million in 1 week, but then we write 142 the same week. So that gap just doesn't ever seem to shrink, you know. So we're working on our backlog, and hopefully, you know, within the next 12 months, we get these new factories up and running and the new DCs and things. We'll be able to take some of that backlog away. So product-wise, anybody have any questions of me? I mean, anybody been running into anything that's been ridiculous? Are you somewhat happy with our shipping? Are we doing something that you would like to see us do differently? Or, perfect, that we're doing everything perfect. I'll leave it in that. So, all right, we'll talk a little bit about product. Brought a few different things in. I do motion, so I do all the reclining furniture. I do home office entertainment, so like fireplaces and things like that. And then outdoor patio is also my category. We brought in a couple different things this year that typically we haven't brought in the show. One of them being a home office desk. You guys in the past have not rented a lot of home office. He's sitting in the chair. Who's ever getting this chair? I put it together wrong. If you flip it over and look at the bottom, the front is pointing towards the back. So you'll have to switch the base around on it, because when you try to tilt swivel on it now, it goes forward instead of backwards, and it's really pitch bad. So when you look at whoever gets that chair, you need to flip the bracket around on the bottom. Sorry about that. But I was looking at it yesterday. I'm like, God, there's something wrong with this chair, and I just couldn't figure it out. But that's obviously I'm not good at putting it together. But so in home office now, when you look at our catalog, we have the traditional home office, which in the past in the rental space hasn't been a big deal. We've gone to basically a couple other subcategories of home office, one of them being RTA. As you all know, there's a lot of RTA TV stands in our line now that hit price points that are come flat pack. There's also a lot of little standalone desks that hit great price points that are also, you know, of the RTA variety. The other new category in home office, which really fits the rental business, is gaming. Gaming industry is huge in the United States. The gaming industry is a $3 to $4 billion a year business in the United States. You know what the average age of the gamer is? Anybody? Who said 35? You said 35? You hit it right on the head. It's 35 years old. You were really close to it. So you guys are both right. Most people answer that question 16, right? It's not. It's people that are, you know, 35, 40 years old who played a lot of PC games back in college. So what they're seeing though is, like, if you go into Best Buy, you see the colored chairs, you see the desks that light up and things like that. And it's not plugged in over there, but like that desk in particular has the LED light strip across the back, and some of your stores had it. And I brought the same desk in because a lot of the new ones are just shipping and we couldn't get it here in time. So I brought you a desk that you've seen. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put together a presentation and give it to Marty to send out to you guys. We have a gaming presentation that shows all of our new gaming desks. We have a number of chairs too. The tilt swivel that is in there when it's put together right is actually a very nice chair. But it hits a good price point. I think it's like 89 bucks cost. And there's 3 different colors there. We've got a version of it with LED lights in it where you could change it to like 14 different colors and it flashes and it strobes, causes strokes and all kinds of things. But we do have the light up chair version of it as well. And then we just introduced at market this last time 3 colors with a footrest that self-stores underneath, and then also an adjustable lumbar on the back of the gaming chair. And then we have a number of new gaming desks. Some really cool red and black ones with like textured surfaces. There's 2 desks that actually the entire top of the desk is a mouse pad surface. So I guess in gaming, some people like to use 2 mice at the same time, but the entire top of the desk is like a giant mouse pad. So there's a couple of those. And they all have the features with the wireless charging. Most of them have lights. You've got the headphone hanger. You've got PC storage. That one over there actually has the cooling cup holder in it, which I've never quite figured out how those work, but it gets really cold. If you've had them in your store and tried them out, it's weird. They get frosty inside. They get that cold, but not quite sure how it works, but it does work. So, like I said, I'm going to have Marty send you guys a presentation here. I'll get it to him midweek this week, but it's a category that we weren't really able to offer before. So you guys haven't really bought a lot of it from us, and it's kind of a new thing in the furniture industry. The gaming home office or the gaming home office desks and TV stands too. There's a number of TV stands that'll be in the presentation too. It's really become a popular big business in home furnishing. So that's why the gaming desk's here. The other thing I brought is I brought a couple theater chairs, which are way in the heck. And again, I've got a nice presentation of these theater chairs that I'll send you. The ones we brought over here are one that was in the line for quite a while, and it's kind of a good, better presentation over here. So you've got one that's been in line for quite a while. That's power recline, power adjustable headrest, lights up underneath, and then you have a step up where you've got a leather version of it. And I don't know, have you guys seen the self-charging cell phone stuff? Come over here and see this. It's pretty cool how it works. I'm gonna make you get up and move. Sorry. So this is kind of, the standard theater chair that we've had. We introduced about 6 new theater chairs. We did a color wheel. We have some that just are reclining, some with the power adjustable headrests and different price points. This, I really like this chair. It's a unique chair. It's kind of like the transformer groups where you've got storage in the arm. Then you've got the power recline and power adjustable headrest buttons over here. It does have self-charging. So even with the case on, if you drop your phone in here like that, it turns blue and it's charging the phone. So it's got the wireless charging in there. You can take the insert out and clean it or whatever if it needs to be cleaned. This also has cup storage in the arms. And it also is Bluetooth. There's a subwoofer built into it and speakers. It sounds fairly decent. The subwoofer actually has a decent amount of bass to it. So you can see, like when I started in the furniture business, fancy electronic was a light and a curio cabinet, right? And now we've got, cup holders that light up and chairs that light up and cell phone charging and power adjustable headrests. There's a lot of features and benefits in a lot of the power motion these days, but I thought this chair in particular was a really good example of what we can offer as far as the better end goods to it in reclining. So, and like I said, the customer, not just the rental customer, the retail customer, everybody, the motion customer is looking for gizmos and gadgets. So the more features and benefits, the more stuff that you have to talk about, a lot of times the easier it is to sell. I mean, you guys have all done well with power adjustable headrests. It's just, like I said, it's kind of a new, the entertainment seating is kind of a new venture for us in the last few years, but something that I think you guys will do well with. So when you get some time, mess around with those 2 chairs, I'll let you go back. I'll give you some features and benefits on our regular instructions. What I like to do with a lot of my sales meetings, when I do them in stores, is I like to give you guys like 5 or 6 bullet points. So when you have somebody come into your store, you're talking to them about an Ashley sofa. You can give them a couple reasons why, in our opinion, we're maybe built a little bit better, or some feature that we think is important in our price points. There's a lot of vendors that build sofas in our price points, but I think we do a lot of things better than a lot of them. And I mean, I'll be quite honest with you, a lot of our features and benefits were born out of disasters, right? Like we messed up on something, so we made a change, and then, now it's a feature and benefit that we do in everything. And they've always been very, very good about changing product. If we have an issue with product, finding ways to make it better. And a lot of those now are features and benefits. So when you look at Ashley, the nice thing about Ashley is almost everything's built the same. There's a couple different seat decks and stationary, but it kind of goes across the board, whether it's motion or stationary as far as construction goes. First off, fabric. All of our fabric is tested and tested and tested. We have testing labs in all of our factories. They stretch it. They do seat cycle tests. There's a chamber they put it in where every hour it's like being in 90-degree heat with 90% humidity for a day. They leave it in there until it falls apart. All of our fabrics are over 90% polyester. That means they're all microfibers. If it's a fabric like that, or even the big soft one like that, or even something like this, they're all over 90% polyester. Why is that important for you guys in rental? Because it's really, really cleanable. You can take a pen and write on pretty much any of this, and a little brush and water is going to take it off. I mean, Sharpie might be a stretch, but a pen will. It's very cleanable. Our cleaning codes on all of our stuff is water and a cloth. And the reason we do that is, especially like in your faux leather type products, like over there, if you clean it with some sort of chemical, it'll take off the protection that's on there. The faux leathers like that, or like on your party time that you guys have had, they have a spray polyurethane finish in them, right? And so if somebody sits on them and cleans them with, for some reason, people like to clean that with like furniture polish and stuff like that. If you clean faux leather with that, it will take that polyurethane finish off, and then it starts reacting with your skin. So you've all seen a sofa where behind somebody's head, the color's coming off, or on the arms, the color's coming off. Not all the time, but I would say 9 or 8 times out of 10, that sofa was cleaned with something and that protected spray finish came off of it. And leather is a natural material, and it reacts with people differently depending on who you are. If you're on heart medication, you're much more acidic than somebody who's not. And so somebody who's on a lot of medications will actually react with a leather sofa more so than somebody who's not. So that's why there are those spray polyurethane finishes on there and stuff. And that's why we do everything with water and cloth only as far as cleaning goes. We have a new fabric coming out, which we're not shipping quite yet. It's called Gaucho. I have one frame with it on that's shipping, but that there you can clean with Tide and all kinds of stuff. But that's a little bit down the road. So what I'm telling you is going to change, but we'll have a new frame middle of next year, basically, that you can clean with soap and stuff. But as of now, it's water and cloth only. So our frames, we use Zippered Spring construction on motion on everything. And these are Zippered Springs underneath here. Our Zippered Springs are 4 inches on center. We're 1 inch closer than pretty much everybody else in our price point. What does that do? That puts one more Zippered Spring in each seat. And the other thing we do with our Zippered Springs is we double them up against the arm, because everybody always sits in the same spot on their sofa, right? And they always sit right up against the arm. You've all seen sofas where you get a gap below the pillow on your arm and the seat cushion. By doubling up the Zippered Springs on the ends of the sofa, it helps keep the sofa true to what it was initially. So we do that. All of our frames are all wood frames. We're starting to do some blow molding stuff, especially in stationary, where like if you got like those sofas with the big sweeping arms, they're actually starting to build those arms with blow molded plastic, and then they upholster over the top of that. It's a great way to build furniture. It's lighter, it's quicker, the upholstery holds its shape better. So you're gonna see us starting to go into some blow molding stuff, but as of right now, all of our frames are, you can sell them as all wood frames. They're not solid wood frames, they're all wood frames. And there's a big difference. People always equate wood as if it's a solid wood, it's gonna be a better value. Not the case. In furniture, you're better off with composite board like we use, because solid wood's going to expand and contract and crack and all that good stuff. So we use a mixture of solid wood for the corner blockings, but the majority of it is going to be like your plywood type boards. But like I said, they are all wood frames. That would be the same as pretty much everybody else. There are some upholstery manufacturers in our price points that we use cardboard and things like that in the arms. But we use all wood frames, and it is a big. And I told you we do build our own mechanisms. It's off of the Liggett plat format. We really don't have a lot of issues with our mechanisms. If you had to replace a mechanism, it's not extremely difficult. 9 times out of 10, if we get a bent mechanism, it's because it was reclined and somebody sat on the footrest and bent it. I mean, that's typically how it happens. But we have a very good mechanism. It's 5-year warranty on the mechanism. Some of the other things that we do well that are unique to Ashley is every sofa has zippered back. So if you put your fingers underneath here, you'll feel the back. You'll feel the zipper underneath the back. That's important because, like I said, everybody's going to sit in the sofa in the same spot every night, right? So over time, you're looking at this sofa, and the side that I would sit in every night starts getting pushed down or starts getting misshapen compared to the rest of the sofa. With the zippered backs, you can open up the zipper, move the stuffing around. You can add more stuffing, and keep the sofa looking as new as possible, as long as possible. And the other thing we do is on blown arms like this, about half of our sofas have zippered arms as well. Before you pitch it to a customer, stick your hand underneath and make sure. It used to be all of them, but it's not. So like this one here has zippered arms, this one here doesn't. And it depends where it comes from. So some of the arms are going to be able to be restuffed, but all of the backs can be restuffed. We do that in every sofa. It's a huge selling feature because my competition in our price points does not do that. So if one side flattens out, the only way to fix it is to have an upholsterer open it up and restuff it, which in our price points are not going to do that. So it's a great selling point. The other thing we do is in our frames, all of our competition does staple and glue joints in the front and the back of the frames on the wood frames. We discovered over the years that when people come up to a chair or sofa, they sit on the arms all the time, right? So when you glue and staple them, it's not near as strong as what we do, and we do mortise and tenon joints. So do you know what a mortise and tenon joint is? It's like a dovetail on a door. There's a notch out and like a male and female end, and they fit together like a puzzle. So then you've got kind of like a dovetail on the back of a drawer. There's 6, 3 on each side in the front arm, and 6, 3 on each side in the back arm. It actually doubles the arm strength. And again, that's one of those by trial by error things over the years, but it doubles the arm strength, and it is definitely a feature for rental because it helps the frame last longer. So that's a big thing. The other thing we do is what they call stress welds. If you feel across the back of the arms, whenever anybody goes to move a sofa, they grab it and they yank it and pull it, right? A lot of my competition, if you pull up on the arm like this and bounced it, you would probably rip the sofa. What we do is we put there's like a piece of hard plastic in there, and then it's triple stitched, and it basically doubles the strength of the seam. And every sofa we make has that stress weld across the back of the stitching. So again, in the rental world, that's a huge feature benefit because more than likely you're not going to have something coming back with ripped corners. So, let's see. I think I gave you a couple pretty good bullet points there. So if you have somebody come in, you can talk to them about things on the sofa. Before I turn it over to who's ever going to go next, does anybody have any questions of me? Or did I say something that spurred a question? If you do later on, ask me when we're done. So. Bueller. Who's ever up next?
I'll talk fast because Jeremy's got it more than me, but thank you very much for your business. Let me first say that to you all. We really, really appreciate it. I know it's been very challenging for everybody. Believe me, we are just as frustrated as you all. When products aren't shipping, we could go without getting a phone call about every 3 minutes for that. I did bring in a few different frames. You guys have obviously seen the 120 sectional, comes in another color as well. And the 345 in leather. That's probably our opening price point. Have you guys all sold that before or seen it? It comes in a chocolate cover as well. It's I think $345, and it's like $160 more for a sleeper, which is a great price. It's our opening price point for a sleeper. And then in the top one here, the 846. I don't think any of you have seen this or sold it before, but we do have, if you really like this hand on this fabric, we've had just huge compliments on it. That's probably our 6th frame now in stationery that we've come out with this type of fabric in that hand. A lot of people, when the first one came out, it's the 196 Rockcliffe. Have you guys, anyone ever sold that sectional? It looks like this. It's real similar. It's actually lighter. Everybody in my territory was petrified of it when it first came out because that's just too light. It's never going to sell. It's actually my #1 seller, and it's not even close. Done almost $2 million at wholesale in that sectional. This is my #1 selling Benchcraft sofa, and it's only been probably shipping for 4 or 5 months now. It's just crushing. People love it. It's 95 inches wide. It's 44 inches deep. But if you do have customers that really like the hand on that fabric, we are able to get that. I can maybe send a list to Marty. There's about 6 or 7 more frames that have that. You got fully reversible, as Chris was talking about. It's always, real beneficial to give customers reasons, to step up. You have your opening price points are a good, better, best, in whatever category is, televisions or appliances, or whatever. And most people just need a reason to spend more. I'm sure all of us have been somewhere shopping for something that you need that you don't want to buy, a new dishwasher or something. And, me personally, when I go into Best Buy or somewhere to buy something, I'm never the customer that say, hey, give me the cheapest thing you have. I think most people want to spend as little as possible, but if given enough reasons and benefits, if you give people features and benefits, they're more likely, obviously, to spend more money because it's going to be more cost effective if it lasts longer and you're happier with it, et cetera. Same thing goes with furniture. Obviously, if you have something with reversible seat cushions, reversible back, big throw pillows, ultra plush seat cushions on this, it's going to be a little more expensive than something with, only have fabric on one side or the other. Obviously, stress welts are on everything that Chris had talked about, except for if there's a loose back pillows. The other thing I was going to mention, just in regards to helping customers kind of create that room, I think we're all very good at selling one item here and there. I think everyone can just be reminded one more time, try to get the customers to envision that room, ask a lot of questions about their room. If they have a television in there, do they need a motion sofa? Do you guys do fabric protection, Marty? No? Okay. Don't really need that aspect, but just, a rug, a table. You notice the coffee table here with the 846 group, it's huge, like 56 inches wide. As you're displaying products on your floor, try to match up, price points. You don't want a real expensive table with an opening price point sofa or something that's a lot smaller scale, or you want them to match. But rugs, lamps is a good way to maybe create a package. And I know a lot of the stores will do that where it'll have, package price for everything. And I think that's just a lot easier for customers to wrap their head around. Most people aren't really great at visualizing, a table from a catalog and matching it with a certain group. So anytime you can kind of tie them all together and do that, it'll benefit you, and I think increasing your close rate as well as getting more dollars on sales. What else is going to tell you? The 120 sectional over here, Chris had mentioned the seat deck. If you flip up the cushion on either of these, this one or the leather group over here, I think this was around last year. Right here, 4.2. But we just started doing the seat platform seat deck on stationary. It's going to give it a little more consistent feel. If you sit on the front of a sofa or in the middle or the back on the sinuous springs, it feels a little different. But when you have that platform seat deck, it gives a little more even, I guess, sit and feel. Reason we went to this is, as Chris alluded to earlier, the injected mold that's going to be made for the arms. Everything that we do is about creating a better value, right? So if we can manufacture something that has a higher quality at a better price, or even the same price, Ashley's going to do it. If you go through the factory, if you've ever been to a factory 5 years ago versus what it is today, it's night and day. There's robotics and electronics and just machines that are doing a lot of stuff. So why did we do a platform seat deck? It lasts longer, it's got a better feel. And oh, by the way, robots make these. So if you can, get robots to make more and more furniture, you don't pay them overtime. You don't have to give them a bathroom break. You can work them 24/7. It's just everything that Ashley does is all about bringing, or at least trying to maintain or hold that price point. We've had so many price increases over the last year or so, and Chris could probably talk to it more because he knows about a lot more of the containers coming in. But historically, about 3 years ago, correct me if I'm wrong, but a container from Vietnam shipping to the West Coast was about $3,000. Today, it's about $20,000. Is that accurate? Yeah. Obviously, these containers aren't double the size. They're the same size. So you get the same amount of furniture put in, $17,000 added. So there's where your price increases go. But to Chris's point, Ashley has done an unbelievable job. He said $1.5 billion investment over the next year and a half. Well, Todd has invested $2 billion in the last 2 years back into the business. A lot of these robotics, these machines, the factory, they'll go in and say, hey, look at this one, this new machine, it can build a seat deck for these 5 sofas, and it can do, X amount, thousands of units per week. And as you go down through the factory, they'll say that one's a $900,000 machine. That's at 1.3 million. But the break even, and that's about 7 months. So give this a few more years, and with what's going on in the whole industry and the supply chain and raw materials, Ashley's going to be in such a better position than everybody else.
Can I add
Yeah.
something? I'm glad you brought this up because I spaced it. One way to think of it is like when you look, if any of you have ever been to an upholstery manufacturer before, a lot of it used to always be a guy with a staple gun, and they would run the same sofa down the line, and the guy would be stapled into the frame. Ashley's plants look more like a GM car plant now, and it's crazy. In the years I've been here, the last 5 years, the plants have changed the most. They buy these huge robot arms, and the arms come in generic. And the funny thing about them is they come yellow, and the owner of Ashley does not like the yellow robots, so they all get painted white. And but the arms come in generic, and then we have our own engineers at Ashley that actually design the function of what that arm's going to do, whether it's picking up plywood. And what they try to do is they try to take the most manual, hardest work out of the lines and have the robots do it. And the other thing it does is like drawers in laminate bedroom, those are all built by robots. And it makes a perfect drawer every 7 seconds, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And it built them all the same. The cuts are the same, the tolerances are the same. So it takes a lot of the human error out of it. I mean, you've all seen a sofa that's coming in that has 20 staples in an inch square, right? So there's a lot of benefits to going with that type of manufacturing. Plus, you're never down. And one of the coolest machines they have there is they have this box machine where it makes the packaging around whatever's being produced. Well, they used to run like 100 of these love seats, so they'd wrap them the same. Well, now this conveyor belt, there's a TV stand, and then there's an occasional table, then there's a recliner, and the computer knows what it is, and it cuts the box for each individual piece, wraps it, and they're all different. It's really neat to watch. Oops, there you go. They're really, it's neat to watch, but it's come a long ways. I mean, and you look at that, you say, well, the robots are taking people's jobs. That's not the case. We need 1,000 people in transportation and 1,000 people in manufacturing right now. They're not taking anybody's jobs, they're just making them better. And so you'll see a lot of stuff improving because of how we're manufacturing. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. And that, to Chris's point too, yeah, that's the first thought is everyone's like, whoa, you're replacing people. It's not the case. Obviously, with the increase, I think we're from 3 years ago, we're probably about 40% up in business, which is astronomical. I mean, we cannot keep up with it. I don't know, when this COVID issue is going to go away, hopefully pretty soon here, which means about 5 years. But eventually when it does, Ashley's will be in such a better position. You guys are all comfortable with, the products and ordering, and it's just the constant improvement. Just want you to constantly always remind customers, especially during this COVID time, kind of the state of the union. First, obviously questioning skillfully, listening carefully is the key to selling. And if you get a customer that comes in, one of the first questions, if it's not one of the first questions, how soon do you need something, if they're looking on the kiosk or whatever, make sure you establish that first, because the last thing you want is to overpromise, underdeliver. It's everything right now. And one of the reasons I got these 3 frames specifically, I don't know if it was just the timing of it, but there was probably only, we have 5 or 6 frames to choose from. So it does get a little tricky with managing things, but now that we have all these products putting on pause, hopefully that eases up and opens up production for some of the better sellers. But I'd highly encourage you guys all to, if you haven't sat in this sofa at some point, come on over, sit and feel the fabric. And I'll send you a list of all the other frames that are in that, because every single one is up in my top 10, and there's I think 6 of them.
There's like a brown version.
Yeah, there's brown, gray, cream. Got a few of them. So, and anybody have any questions stationary wise? I handle accessories, tables, everything kind of goes with the stationary groups. Nothing? You guys good? Happy? Jeremy will take it.
So obviously they reiterated on a lot of very important things and trying to manage and why there's been so many price increases. The biggest thing that I've seen is obviously freight and understanding why it's more expensive and how it's hurting us and affecting us. It isn't because we can't always manufacture it. Right now for mattresses, we have mattresses sitting outside of our factory. We don't have trucks to come and pick them up and bring them. So when you're talking about why is it so important to get a mattress in box, you talked about it, how many times, why is it so important? If you only get one big truck at one time, can we get 100 mattresses on it, or do you want to get 1,000 mattresses on it when the quality is the same? So especially now, we got a 30% increase over last year, which is 40% over the year before, which is 50% before. So if we keep that projection rate up in 3 years, it would be $1 billion mattress producer. That's insane for selling two $500 mattresses. I mean, that's up there with Jumper Sealy, Serta Simmons. The guys that have been doing it for 40 years, we've been doing it for about 10. We're doing something right, and you guys are selling the product that the customers want. It's a value price item, and that's what Ashley, what both Chris's reiterate all the time. It's giving you a value price product. How can Ashley give you something better than the other ones? Chris mentioned, especially Leggett Black, providing most of the frame and mechanisms to it. And we build our own coils now. We're not buying from Leggett Black. We have our own foam factory. So we're not buying from Carpenter directly, side like how the other companies are. And in the end, it gives you a better product because we manage that product again. And also be able to cut out that middleman that they want their income. We're not going to give them income. It's going to be ours, and it comes out of the consumer. So I'm asking Marty's help. Actually, did everyone get a piece of paper that I gave up? Someone missing one? Josh, did you get one? I got one here. Write your name on it. So what we're talking about is our foam producer. So our facility, we're actually really ramping up our production out of this facility. It's in South Hill. I want you guys to guess, and I did leak out this information, and it probably came up in some conversations. But when we are finished with this, hopefully, I say hopefully, by the end of the year, we're pushing out how many mattresses per week. I want you to guess how many mattresses out of this one facility. This isn't out of Advance, out of Wisconsin. This one facility, how many mattresses we're gonna make per week. So write that down, give them to Marty if you can. I'll get those in a little bit. So, right. It's gonna be South Hill, Mississippi. That's the mattresses we are building to distribute to our areas. Yeah. We obviously have other distribution facilities besides this one. So, before I go on, does anyone have any issues, any concerns, any feedback from me for good or bad? You know, what do you like selling? What don't you like selling? Give it to me. This here is your M633. This is a bed we got lucky on, actually. I came across this SKU. There was a bed that we weren't initially supposed to get. We found it. You guys have been running with it. That's been really successful.
I think that's when you were talking about.
Yeah. So
This is for weight.
for large accounts, very, very large accounts, we can, you know, if someone comes to us like, I want this mattress, will you build it for me? Well, if it makes sense, yes. So this one was built for a very large account. And it hasn't been taken away from me yet. It could go away. So just keep it between us and sell it while we got it. It's been great. It's got the upholstery grade fabric. If you remember, Gary Jones always talked about the upholstery grade fabric on it that Chris has talked about. All the testing and quality that we go through. It comes with a protector on it. It's been really great. Ryan, did you ever get your California? So I swear he's had the worst luck, and I apologize again. That one there is one of the top selling mattresses in the country. We cannot make enough of them. When we make more, it's still not enough. The other shipping, we're doing well on it. Keep pushing that sucker because they're in line, they're going through. So we are cutting out a few. Actually, the bed in the corner, Rogers. We're not going to have the Rogers anymore. If you're familiar with the Manhattan or even the Loft in Madison, I know we saw the Loft in Madison. Those are going to go away. We have 3 new beds coming out. We won't see them until the first quarter. This Lux bed is going to eat up all those SKUs. We are so excited to see this bed for the feel and price. Anyone that was looking at the Rogers, Manhattan, or Loft in Madison, they're going to want the Lux bed. So if you want your highest end customer, we'll, as I come around visitor stores, we'll talk about it. We'll get it. Hopefully it's here next quarter. A couple big things as well. The 2 beds on the end, we're excited to show you those because we weren't even sure if we were going to get them. Those are going to be your new chimes. We've all seen the chime. We know the chime. We've sold thousands of the chime. And actually on Amazon, I know we all hate Amazon, it has 15,000 5-star reviews. on a $300 mattress. Give you an idea what your customers are after. It's those suckers right there. Nobody builds a better mattress for even close to that. Keep that in mind. I use it, obviously it's not gonna be the first mattress you go to. We want that to be your closer. Don't let anyone lie. They need to see that mattress before you go. I don't care whatever mattress you show them on the floor, they need to see those mattresses before they leave. Because no one's gonna have something better than that. If you wanna close that sale, that's where it's at. Those mattresses there at $200 or $300, it gets us up to $500 million for mattresses. That's a ton. They are improved. So what's going to happen is when these are being produced, hopefully end of third, early fourth quarter, hopefully by the end of the year, again, anything can happen. These are improved. They're better than what the chime is. We're not going to cut out the chime. It's still going to be in the marketplace. They're going to get that on Amazon. They're going to find it on Wayfair, Walmart, anyone else is there. We have that traction. We don't want to lose that traction. It was the hardest thing for any company to provide is given a product that the customer sees, understands, and recognizes. So we have that. But now the other thing is we don't want to match that price all the time. We don't want to be like, I saw it there, I want to buy it there. No. So we're going to give you an improved, a better mattress. So when that customer comes in, like I saw this chime for this price, like, hey, let me take you to this. This is the new one. This is what's changed. This is what I got today. I can put it in your car and you're going to be happy tonight. Don't wait a couple of days. Understand the difference. The 12-inch, especially on the back side, it had in the chime previously had a convoluted foam, and convoluted for a while was important. There was clever marketing basically, but a straight layer high density foam was better. So we're going to give you that straight layer foam. So just rate one layer on it is already improved like from the previous one. The prices are almost identical. So the fabric on the side too, we pattern our fabric obviously for presentation out of the box. We're not relying on that for support. That's what our Ashley Edge is for. I talked about it many times as far as the foam encasement on mattresses. It's the first thing to fail on every mattress. I've been doing this for 17 years. From Stearns Heirloom, I've sold $13,000 mattresses. They've all had that same design, and it doesn't matter who's manufacturing it. They make it wider, taller, higher density, different ILD rate. It's always the first thing to fail because the customer's relying on it. So what I want to point out, especially, and the customer's going to do this. Everyone, you sit on the mattress right before you guys can really enforce it and tell them to lay on a mattress. If they sit up like, oh, you know, I want a stronger edge on it, be like, sir or ma'am, that bed did exactly what it's designed to. So actually, come here. I'm gonna have you sit next to me. And somebody pop up, come sit over here. Okay. So now we are one very big person. Okay. Well, unless Chris got easy. So what we want to point out then is be like, what you were afraid of is actually a benefit, because now this mattress, as you can see, is designed to compress where weight is applied. And we have all of our weight centralized in the narrow part of our body, right? So here is our side, here's our shoulders, the hips, or if you're sleeping backwards, whatever. And then obviously when you get up, it's going to do exactly what we need it to do. I trust that coil more than any part of the mattress ever made. We will lay on the mattress for hopefully 8 hours a night. Why am I concerned about you sitting on it for a couple of minutes? Absolutely not. I don't want to feel a difference in feel, but I'm laying to the edge because if I notice that foam encasement, I scoot to the middle. And because I'm uncomfortable on the edge, I feel I'm going to roll off, whatever. So our Ashley Edge, we give a 13 gauge perimeter coil on it. Beef up the coils on the outside is 15 gauge up the interior. You have to talk about that because even if they didn't say it to you and they sat on the edge and they think this is that thing, you got to be blunt with them, tell them what they're all about. They're in here to see you guys because you're the professionals. There's a reason why they like that.
You don't sleep like this.
No, absolutely. Sleep in the mattress.
Right.
Of course. Yep. Get on it, lay down, take a nap. I don't care. I can't help when we're done. How will I lose on that? The other thing it's very easy to point out is it takes our $1 million machine with thousands of pounds of pressure to compress that and put it in the box. You think I'm concerned about Chris laying on this mattress? That's two. Absolutely not. I don't care who or what is on that mattress. We are not concerned about it. You cannot hurt it. It's impossible. We've seen the machine. I've got the video. Show it to the customer. Go ahead and jump on it. I don't care. So just be proud of it. Show that confidence because they're going to believe in you. I'm proud of it. Everything we have is a 10-year full replacement warranty aside from our used mattresses, which probably don't even do anything with it. So reinforce that. The papers that I handed out, you got your guesses on it? Did you turn them into Marty? Okay, I'm going to do one other thing before that. I have 3 names in my hand. One of them's Cal. Can you stand up, Cal? Wade, Lily,
He's gone.
he's down here, okay? And Ruthie. So you three are the top Ashley producers, so I want to thank you. I'm going to. All right, Travis. So the first person I draw, unfortunately, you're not going to win anything. Just grab one. Who is it? You're the bad news bearer. Okay. All right. So the next one, Cal, you get to pick one of those mattresses. They're yours. Of the two feet, whether you want the plush or the pillow top, Marty will figure out how to get it to you. It's our way of saying thanks, and you get the other one. So number 2, I appreciate it. That's awesome. So going forward, next year, I want to try and do this. Now, I can't guarantee I'll be able to give you a free mattress. That's a prototype. We're excited to have them here. Hopefully, we get them by the end of the year. I want to do something for you guys. I mean, you're helping me keep selling my stuff, and I want to try and pay you back somehow. We appreciate it. So that's that. How much time do I got, Marty?
6 minutes.
6 minutes. Do we have any questions on mattresses? Anything I missed? Oh, let's do that thing. Okay, sweet. Okay. This is fun. I like this. I wish I could produce 1 million mattresses a week. That would be phenomenal. And maybe someday, but not yet. 750,000. No. I thought this was going to be completely opposite here. These are awesome numbers. But actually, a lot of 100,000 getting closer. We are going to produce 50,000 mattresses. Nathan? Did anyone else guess 50,000? No. So Nathan, I got a mug for you. Thank you. Good guess. But anyway, 50,000 mattresses a week. Sorry. I could have went first and then you could up the ante. I don't know. So hopefully we get up there by the end of the year. That's our production. So I think Chris touched on these 13,000 gallon barrels that have a raw elements in it, making our foams on it. We have 6 of them right now. We're going to get up to 24. And that's going to make sure that we don't have any of these hiccups before. We are still going to import our foam because we have those factories in Vietnam. We already have the containers, the ships coming over. We're going to start to see some of that trending in the US right now. Every coil mattress is made in the US right now. So any questions before I talk about case goods very briefly? Okay. The other thing is definitely reach out to me if you want me to come in. We can do some top-down selling, from qualifying to the finish to doing the mattressing, the adjustable base pairing. I want to do that, spend that time with you guys, and try and make it more fun for you guys as well. So on case goods, some of the big factors, we have a Millennium Group coming out. Millennium we've had before many years ago. It's an extra tier. This Millennium Group is product that we built to compete with like Restoration Hardware, Gabbard's, some of the galleries like that. It looks awesome. It's really great product. Soft closed drawers, the design on it, very chunky pieces. So you'll start to see the Millennium stuff. If you see the Millennium label, that's what it is. Hopefully we see it in like 6 months or something like that. It's out in Vegas. It's great stuff. So the other thing is some of our case pieces, you're going to get some that are deeper. We'll have deeper drawers and such to it for almost the same price. So kind of keep that in mind when you start to see some of the case pieces and sizes on it. Some of those are going to be just a little bit bigger, give more value. And finally, the Mega Tough tables with the melamine surface on it. They're pretty much the product of the year as far as tables go. And what I really like about it when I was on the sales floor, especially, is we could say whatever we wanted to the consumer, but they really believe you on something like that. They can see it, they can touch it, they can feel it. Right off the bat, you can tell them it's heat resistant, water resistant, scratch resistant. You can do whatever you want to do to it. And they're like, okay, I believe, we're not just a talkative salesperson for that. That's it. How do we do? Perfect. Okay.
Thanks for selling us.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.